Hello and welcome to Math 14 at COD for spring 2024. The purpose of this video is to introduce the course a little bit and go over some of the features of Canvas that we'll need, and also to take a look at the syllabus for the course, which describes the policies and processes for our course. So we'll start by taking a look at Canvas. What you can see on the screen now should be your view of Canvas, although this pink bar at the bottom, that just shows up when I'm putting it in student mode. So it won't be pink when you're looking at it. All right, down the left side, the most important functionality that you'll need is here under account. That's how you will log out when you are finished. Courses will let you switch between courses, which is not too surprising. Inbox, that's how you can send and receive messages. Anything else, you're welcome to explore that and see what that will do for you, but it's not anything we're going to have to use for our course. In the second column, Home will take you to this screen that you see right here. Modules will also take you to this screen, the way that I've got it set up. Discussions, we'll have some discussions every week, ideally, and you'll click on discussions to do those. I'll show you that after a little while. And then everything else, like I said, you can click on that and explore there, but there's nothing that you need out of it. And it won't break anything if you click on it. So feel free to explore. All right, so the main functionality is down the middle. The information for our course is organized into blocks. The first block is this syllabus getting started block. A point of navigation, you'll notice here to the left of the word syllabus, there's a little triangle that points downward. If you see a triangle that points downward like that, that means that it's a block that is already open. If I click on that, the triangle will now point to the right, and you can see the items that were listed below the syllabus and getting started block are now missing. So right now it's closed, now it's open. So in general in Canvas, you can open and close blocks to hide some of that detail if you wish, or if you can't find anything or find something, conversely, it's probably because the block that you need is closed. All right, so the next thing is introduction. This is the video that you're watching right now. The syllabus, we will take a look at that in just a few minutes. My Stat Lab is the software that we'll be using to do our coursework, and creating the account is a kind of necessary first step. The registration instructions are right there. That's a PDF. Okay, introduction to My Math Lab, that should say My Stat Lab. It's going to probably change by the time you see this. That's a video on how to use My Stat Lab. My Stat Lab has a course ID that identifies this particular course versus some other statistics course, and that's here. The course ID that you need is Klinefelter 08389, and if you have trouble with that, then double check your spelling. Okay, so that's the syllabus and getting started block. Once we're through taking a look at all this Canvas stuff, we'll take a look at the syllabus. So I'm going to close the syllabus and getting started block for now. The next thing, hopefully helpful information. A lot of times people have trouble with math or find it anxiety producing. So I've put a few handouts here to hopefully help you with some of those issues. There's some on anxiety, making a chapter outline, dealing with negative self-talk during tests, things of that sort. The last two things are videos. There's one on how to make a practice test and how to use a math practice test. One thing that you may not have noticed in Canvas before is the little symbol to the left of the text here. If you see something that looks like a paperclip, that means it's a link to a document. If you see something that looks kind of like a chain link, then that is an external link. So in the case of these last two things, they're linked to external YouTube videos, whereas everything else is a document. So that's helpful information. I hope it is helpful. If you find any of it helpful, especially, or maybe not helpful, made things worse, let me know so that I can take that into account. All right, so then the next thing that you'll see here is lectures and notes for our first three chapters. So far, I've got just notes, sections 1.1 and 1.2 here. The lectures will appear here soon. So let me show you how that will look. All right, so that's how it looks. So the notes for sections 1.1 and 1.2 are here. You can tell there's a paperclip there. That means it's a link to a document. The notes are all PDFs. And then following that, there's the lecture for sections 1.1 and 1.2, and that's organized into two parts. So just to make them not too long. So how to do this course, essentially, I'll show you where the textbook is after a bit. But you'll want to read the textbook. Most people like to read through the notes. You'll want to watch the videos. Some people like to watch the videos in conjunction with the notes. But that part is totally up to you. So definitely recommend to watch the lectures and or read the notes before beginning any kind of homework. All right, so that's all that is posted for right now. And so you can get started viewing those notes. So where to start, where to begin? You're watching the introduction start here video. We're going to look at the syllabus here in a second. Then you're going to want to create your MyStatLab account. And there's a video showing you how to do that and some of the basics of MyStatLab as well. You'll want to take note of this course ID, Kleinfelter, K-L-E-I-N as in Nancy, F as in Frank, E-L-T-E-R 08389. Okay, so there is that. The next thing we want to do is to take a look at the syllabus. So I'm not going to read you the whole syllabus because it's really tedious. I just want to go over the high points. I'm the instructor, Dan Kleinfelter. My email address is here as shown, dkleinfelter@collegeofthedesert.edu. I check my email every day during the week and then sometimes on the weekends. If you do email me, I would appreciate it if you would put your name in the body of the email and what class you're in the subject or body of the email, just so that I know. If you write to me and just say, okay, when is our first test? Then I have to write you back and say, okay, which class are you in? Because I have several. And so if you identify yourself and identify your course, it makes things a lot smoother. Okay, I have office hours on the Palm Desert campus, MSTC 246E. Mondays and Thursdays are 11 to 12, and Tuesdays and Wednesdays are 11 to 12:30. And then if you want to meet via Zoom during those times, let me know and I can set up a Zoom session for us to meet during those times. Okay, what is the course about? You can read through the description here. That kind of came just from the college catalog, but kind of in everyday language, there's two halves to this course. There's a descriptive statistics and an inferential statistics. The first part, roughly the first 3 to 4 chapters or so, is about the descriptive statistics part. And that is how we can use different tools to describe data, as the word descriptive implies. And that is how can you use things like bar charts and scatter plots and pictorial displays to describe a set of data. And then also, how can you use numerical measures to describe data? Things like an average or median that describe a data set. And measures of variability, how spread out is a set of data, we'll learn those as well. Things like the standard deviation, which you may or may not have heard of. The second half of the course, and really the second 2/3 of it more, has to do with the inferential part of statistics, and that's how we can use data from a sample to make decisions or give us some information about a population. And so, excuse me, in short, we're typically interested in knowing something about a population. Let's say that we want to know how many units the typical COD student is taking, or let's say that's easy to look up in the computer, so forget that. Let's say we want to know how many hours per week this typical COD student takes. For a variety of reasons, it's going to be hard to ask every single student. Maybe it's impossible to track down everybody and ask them, or maybe it's just prohibitively expensive, right, to send out a survey to everybody or try to catch everyone coming out of a class. It's expensive in some way, either in terms of money or in terms of time. So we might decide, well, let's just take a sample then. Let's just get 100 students and ask them. And from those 100 students, decide, okay, well, this is what the typical COD student is like. That's how many hours per week do they work? So how can you use a sample that is a subset of the population, the whole group that you're interested in studying? We take some of them and ask our question, our research question of the sample, and then we use that to generalize to the population. And then there's some, of course, tricky stuff in there, like, well, does the sample really represent the population? And even if it does, there could be some variability due to chance. right? So we have to take that kind of thing into account. So that is a really, really brief version of what the course is about. But in short, the first part is about how do you describe data in various ways. The second part is about how you make decisions about data, a whole group or big chunk of data by looking at a piece of it. Okay, so we'll see. You can read through the course content there. A lot is going to be some probably unfamiliar terms, but by the end, you're going to know what all that stuff is. Okay, prerequisites for the course are a C or higher in basically an intermediate algebra class. So COD has had a variety of intermediate algebra courses for years. Those are listed. Algebra 2 in high school, at least that's what it was when I went to school. It's called Algebra 2, is sufficient. Advisories, English 61 and Reading 61. That's what that catalog lists. We're not going to read and write essays here. As I mentioned, we may write some discussion posts, which is not too bad, but primarily you need to be able to read story problems. The nature of statistics has a lot of story problems and written processes to follow, and so you need to be able to read those things. As far as the algebra content that you need, we're not going to be doing more esoteric things, maybe like graphing parabolas or completing the square and solving, big deep equations or anything like that. Primarily, you need to be able to plug numbers into formulas and calculate an answer, and you need to be able to read some graphs and tables. If you have a question about whether you meet the prerequisite, let me know, and we'll figure it out. Okay, one thing worth noting is that there's been some recent legislation in California that kind of prohibits counselors from letting students know that they're unprepared for the math course. So if you go see a counselor and ask them, okay, am I ready to take Math 14? They may not tell you, or they may tell you you're fine, even if you're not necessarily. So take that into account. Okay, the format for our course is basically just like this. You log on, watch videos, log on to my stat lab and do work. There aren't set meeting times and there aren't live lectures. This class is asynchronous. So like I said, the lectures are recorded and posted on Canvas. The coursework is going to be completed using, I should say my stat lab, but that's fine. This format for a course has benefit for students in that you are able to do the work kind of at your convenience. If you work all day and can't do any work or do any school until like 10 p.m. at night, then this class is ideal for you because very few colleges will offer a live class beginning at 10 p.m., right? So you can work on the class at your pace as long as you meet deadlines, but there aren't fixed live lectures or times where you have to be online at a certain time of day. Okay, so that's an advantage. A disadvantage to an asynchronous course is that it's kind of more up to you to make sure you actually get on and do your work. You don't have someone telling you that you need to be in class at a certain time every day. Okay, time commitment for the course depends on a lot of factors, but the college rule of thumb is going to be about 8 hours per week, aside from the time spent watching lectures. So not counting the videos, it'll probably take you about 8 hours a week to get the work done. That's going to vary. It'll depend on a lot of things, such as what chapter of the book we're in, what particular topic we're doing, how well you did in the earlier materials, your background. If you are more recent in your experience with math, you may find this less time consuming. If it has been longer since you've taken a math course, it may take you longer. Okay, if you deviate a little bit from the 8 hours, that's probably fine. If you deviate too much and are not getting the results you want, then you should talk to me and we'll figure out what's going on. If you're spending an hour a week and getting a D, then probably upping the amount of time you spend on the course can help. If you're spending 20 hours a week working on this class and you're living in the tutoring center and still getting a D or C, then again, we should talk about it. Okay, there's one required text for the course. It's elementary statistics with my Math Lab Access by Triola. The My Math Lab course ID I already showed you, that's on Canvas. Make sure that you get the 14th edition. They kind of forced me to upgrade from the 13th to 14th, but there are still some 13ths laying around, so make sure you get the correct one. Do you need to have a paper copy of the book? That is totally up to you, and I'll never know. okay, if you have a paper copy of the book or not. You do need the online access, of course, in order to get the schoolwork done, but whether you have the paper copy of the book is totally up to you. The online access to My Stat Lab will give you access to an ebook, which you can read. Okay, grading. How's grading done for the course? Excuse me. We'll have 3 exams over the course of the semester worth 15% of your grade each. Homework, also done on My Stat Lab, 20%. Quizzes, 12%. Participation and discussion questions, 3%. And then a final at the end of the semester worth 20% of your grade. Okay. Exams will be scheduled in advance, probably occur on Thursdays. You'll have at least 90 minutes to complete the exam. I may make it longer depending on which exam it is. You'll have a week's notice that an exam is coming. I'll let you know, but typically we'll have an exam about every 3 chapters. So after chapter 3, after chapter 6, and then after chapter 9. Okay. Exams are due at midnight, basically. So you'll need to start by 10:30 to have the full time. The clock in My Stat Lab will shut off at 11:59. So if, even though I've told you 90 minutes, you need to start at 10:30, right, to get done by midnight. If you get on there at 11:30, you're not going to get to work till 1 a.m. Okay, it's not the case of, okay, once I'm in, I'm in. If you get on there at 11:30, you're going to have a half an hour to take the test. Okay, so make sure to allocate yourself enough time to get the test done. Okay, so if you have any questions about the testing there, let me know and I can answer your question. All right, so like I said, if you have questions about the exam, let me know. Our final exam will be on Thursday, May 23rd. You'll have 2 hours to do that one. Make sure to mark your calendar to make sure that you are available for 2 hours during that whole day in order to get the final exam taken. There's no makeups for missed work, so make sure to make note of due dates. None of the exams can be taken early or late. You have a whole day to get each exam taken, so you should be able to fit that into your schedule. None of the exams can be taken earlier or late. If you do miss one of the first 3 exams, I'll replace that exam score with whatever score you earn on the final, but you do need to contact me on or before the day of the missed exam. Only 1 exam score will be replaced in this way. The second exam will count as a 0. So if you have the misfortune of missing 2 tests out of 3, then I'll replace the first one with the final exam, but that second one is going to count as a 0. So you really want to try not to miss, you shouldn't miss any tests, but you really don't want to miss 2 tests. Okay, there's no makeups for the final exam. There's the date, it's May 23rd. You need 2 hours out of the 24. So make sure to set aside that time. All right. Your grade for the course is determined by your performance on the assigned work. The more or less standard 90 for an A, 80 for a B, 70 for a C scale applies here. COD doesn't do plus minus grading, so it's just A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. There's no extra credit for our course, so make sure to do as well as you can the first time. I think your grade should be based on your performance for a course, so there's no kind of credit given for non-school factors, like needing the class to transfer, graduate, having taken the class before, your scholarship that you're going to lose because of this class specifically, being an international student, sick family members, and so on, flat tires, all that stuff. Your grade is based on your work in the course. Okay, I think it's most fair to everyone that way instead of people's special circumstances. Okay, if you have questions about grading, let me know. Okay, homework, like I said, is completed on My Math Lab. Make sure to check regularly so that you don't miss due dates. You may want to get a little planner or calendar just specifically for this course. But you don't have to, but I would if it were me, just because I like to be organized like that. Just point is, make sure you don't miss due dates. Okay, the due dates during the week can vary, like when we have something due Wednesday or Friday or Tuesday or whatever, but the due times will always be midnights. Okay, for calculators, you're going to need a scientific calculator. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, square root. You don't need a graphing calculator, although if you wish to use one, you can. We'll be using some statistical software built into my stat lab sometimes, and occasionally we'll use a spreadsheet software like Excel in order to get some of our work done. Okay, student learning outcomes, read through that if you like. That's supposed to be the kind of semi-everyday language explanation of what we learn. You can take a look. Attendance, your attendance isn't used in computing your grade. However, students who attend class here in the online environment, that means get on Canvas, view lectures, read notes, do the discussion posts, do work, tend to do better in the class than the people who don't. So you may also be dropped from the class if you don't do work in my math lab or my stat lab for 4 or more consecutive days. Our class is kind of designed for flexibility, so you can work on it any time of day. But if for some reason you know you're not going to be able to do work for 4 days, you're going to like Bhutan or something for vacation, no internet access or something of that sort, then let me know. If you have some reason why you're not going to be able to get the work done, just let me know so that I won't assume that you've just disappeared from the class. Okay. Classroom conduct. Aside from the student code of conduct built into the college catalog, there's really only one rule. Be civil and courteous to one another. Be honest. Be honest, basically don't cheat on things. And being civil and courteous means that in the discussion forums, be polite, use only work or school appropriate language. If several of you are attending my office hours, we're going to take turns. So pretty simple stuff. Students with disabilities, read through the paragraph there and let me know if you have any questions. Academic integrity, again, read through that. Extra credit, there's no extra credit here. Make sure to do your best the first time. Once you're behind, it's hard to catch up. Our course is different from some others and similar to a lot of math courses in that it tends to build on itself in a way, unlike say a geography class where, you know, if you completely failed Europe, you're going to be okay for South America, maybe. Our course, you could be okay. Yeah, pretty much no, you can't really miss anything. If you don't understand chapter 6, you're not going to understand anything that comes afterwards. I could tell you that. Chapter 4, you really need to understand to go on. Chapters 1, 2, and 3 are kind of independent of chapter 4. There's some independence in the chapters, but it isn't completely disconnected. So try not to get behind. Okay, some kind of general advice that applies. A lot of people find math challenging, statistics too. There's a fair amount of theory in our course. Statistics is basically all word problems, almost all word problems. Sometimes people don't like that, but for whatever the reason, if you follow some of these advices that follow, you're going to have easier time and hopefully a better grade in the class. Try to work on statistics every day. It's, as I said, easy to be undisciplined in our course because it is asynchronous. You're going to have a tougher, unless you're a natural at this, you're going to have a tougher time if you just do all your work on Saturday and then ignore it for the rest of the week. You're much better off doing it in small doses that are spread out. If you decide that you're going to spend 8 hours on this class, and that's all, let's say, then you're way better doing 2 hours Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday than if you just get on there and do a marathon 8 hours on Sunday. Okay, way better if it's spread out. Okay, maintain a positive attitude, regardless of how you may feel about life in general, math in general, this course specifically. You're choosing to take the course for whatever reason, so you do want to be here, and this course is getting you closer to whatever your plans and goals are. So if having a positive attitude will help you to do better in the course, if you sit and grumble and think, I hate this course, but I have to take it, then, well, no, not really. You could drop, okay? But so look at it from the point of view that you want to take this course because it's getting you closer to what it is that you want. It is kind of a mind game that you're playing with yourself, but that positive attitude will help you potentially do better in the class and at least have a more comfortable time doing it. Okay, I plan for you to read the book and watch the lectures. If you just go straight onto my stat lab and try to blunder through the problems, it'll be harder for you and more frustrating, I think. Try to read the book and watch the lectures. Okay. Don't expect to necessarily understand everything as soon as it's explained in a lecture video. You do need to actually try stuff yourself and make mistakes and then correct your understanding, and then it gets better. Um, Generally, you don't, for most topics at least, just kind of look at it and go, yeah, okay, I understand it. You actually do need to try it yourself. Okay, math takes a lot of practice. All right, that takes us to the end of the syllabus. There's a lot there. Read through that on your own also and let me know if you have any questions. Um, that's the main thing. The other video is going to show you how to work my stat lab. The only other thing I wanted to show you is here under discussions. Modules takes you to this page. Discussions takes you to this one right here. There's an introduce to yourself discussion, which you can do. And then so far a general discussion. I'll be posting a discussion pretty regularly to ask a couple of simple questions here and there. Make sure to check those at least once a week and then make sure to respond. Okay, and if you have questions about the discussions, let me know. They should be pretty low pressure, but take some time to look at those and make sure to read other people's responses too. For the general discussion, that you can talk on any topic. Let's say that you want to meet up with a group of people and have like a study group or something at a Starbucks or something. You can see if people are interested here or whatever. It doesn't need to be school related. Just make sure to use school or work appropriate language throughout. Okay, modules or home will take you back to right here. All right, what to do next is take a break and then read through the My Stat Lab registration instructions and then take a look at the introduction to My Stat Lab and see if you can get that account set up. All right, so that takes us to the end of this video. Let me know if you have any questions. And in the meantime, have a great day. Welcome to the class.